Okay, I had a little trouble with my, hope I make it through. Okay, so this story, I may have told this story before, but it should be told once a year, to tell you the truth. It's a great story. It's a true story, okay, and it takes place in 1776 in December. It's the night before the Battle of Valley Forge. And General George Washington is the leader of the American Revolutionary Forces, okay, and he, of course, the future president of the United States. And it's a very cold night, and he's concerned about his soldiers, and he walks out, of his tent, puts his, three-cornered hat firmly on his head, and puts his soldier's cape around him, and he goes to walk around to all the tents, and he looks inside, and in each of the tents he sees these soldiers practically dressed in rags and huddled around some little fire trying to get some hot food. It's very difficult conditions. And as he's walking around, he comes across one soldier with some kind of a metal apparatus. And he sees that he has a few candles, very thin little candles in this metal. And he says to him, "What are you doing?" And the kid, this soldier like jumps up. He's like, salutes. He's like very shocked to see the leader of the American forces standing right in front of him. And he asks him again, "What is this?" And he says to him, "Well, I'm Jewish, and this is the holiday of Chanukah." And he proceeds to tell him the story of Chanukah. He says that the Jews in ancient Israel were taken over by the Greeks, and the Greeks refused to allow the Jews to practice their religion, refused to let Jews learn Torah. And at some point, the Maccabees decided they're not going to take it anymore. They rebelled. They got together an army, and they fought against the Greek, against tremendous odds. They were like we are now. He tells George Washington, like our situation now, where was it possible to win? But it was the few against the many, and thank God we were successful. And it was a great victory for the Jewish people, and the Jews were able to recapture their holy temple. But not only that, tells George Washington, there was no oil. The temple had been defiled. They had brought idols in, and so the Jews were able to cleanse it, and then they were able to they were ready to light the menorah, and they couldn't find any oil, and they went and they somehow managed, Chasdei Hashem, they managed to find some oil. And but the miracle of this oil was it was only enough for 8 days, for one day, and it somehow managed to last for 8 days. And that's why I'm lighting these candles today in honor of this holiday. So George Washington says to him, "You're a Jew, and you're the people of prophecy, and I'm taking this as a sign from Almighty God that we should go ahead and that we're going to be successful." Okay, and of course, the rest is history, right? The Americans were successful in the Battle of Valley Forge. At that point, the tides of war changed. From there on, the United States, the Americans were able to defeat the British, and the United States was established. So, but there's more to the story. So one evening, about 2 years later, and George Washington was president of the United States by then, two men knock on the door, and he's like, "Okay, who are you guys? Like, you're not a Mashalach, that's for sure." Two people came, looking very official, and he them in, and after introductions, he explains to him that this is for you. And he passes over to him a velvet bag, which contains a box. He's like looks one to the other, trying to figure out what this thing is about. And he takes out the box, and he opens it up, And inside, in this beautiful plush velvet box, is a golden medallion. And it says, "With thanks," from George Washington, embossed over a menorah. Wow. And with it, there's a letter. And the letter says, "My dear friend, you don't know what you accomplished that night at Valley Forge. I couldn't sleep that night because I was sure that we had no chance of winning. We lacked ammunition. We outnumbered 10-1. We didn't even have food or bedding for the soldiers. When I saw those boys lying asleep in the freezing cold under those thin blankets, it took away my resolve. I made up my mind then and there to surrender. Whoa. But your lights and your words changed all that. If it wasn't for you and your menorah, I don't know if we would be standing here today as free men. So we decided to present you this medallion to you as a testimonial to that night, which was a turning point in our struggle for freedom. And this medallion exists today. It's part of the permanent collection of the Jewish Museum in New York." What? By the way, this is a story about Rabbi Tillis. Thank you, Rabbi Tillis. I forgot to mention that. I don't know. They have their ways. It's the CIA. It was the CIA. They know everything. Even then, they knew everything. All right, got one more. Time for one more. Okay, also from Rabbi Tillis. Yeah. Someone want to quote? Okay. Okay, so this story takes place about 100 years ago in Baghdad, at the Shabbos table of Mr. Avraham Pinchas, who was a very wealthy merchant. And normally he had lots and lots of people at his table for Shabbos. It just happened that at this meal he had only one guest who he had found at the big Knesset. He brought him home, and the man, a very poor man, he looks around at the surroundings, and everything is the Persian rugs and the beautiful curtains and the inlaid gold dishes, and it's all riches. Everything is just beautiful. The food matches, and it's just a sumptuous environment. There's only one thing on the table. There was this broken bottle, like stained, maybe with oil, I don't know, discolored, and he's looking at it. And so Avraham Pinchas asked him, "You're wondering what that bottle is about, aren't you?" So he tells him the story of what the bottle was about. So he said that his father was a very busy businessman. He was successful. He was very busy all the time. His mother had passed away, and his father would be off all the time doing business, and he was left to the hand of his grandfather. And every morning, his grandfather would say, he would make sure that he washed and said his brachos and said his tefillah, and he would send him off to school with his lunch, and he really pretty much took care of him. But before he left, every single day, his grandfather would raise his hands to the sky, and he would say, "Va'ani ana ba'alai." But no, sorry, yeah, "Va'ani ana ani ba," which we just read in this past week's parsha when Reuven discovers that Yosef has been taken from the pit, and it doesn't seem like he'll be able to save him. It just sort of seems like an expression of hopelessness. So, and he never really thought about it. Never really. Yaakov. Should I answer it? My husband. I'm in the middle of telling a story. There's got to be importance for him. Okay. Bye, Pilpul Harif. Okay, I will. Bye. Tell me that. Bye, Pilpul Harif. It's important. It's important. It's important. It's my husband. Yeah, right, exactly. Anyway, so after a few years, he's very close to his grandfather. His grandfather passes away, and it's very tragic for him because he doesn't really have anybody to take care of him. So he starts going to work with his father, and his father, he's busy. He tries to go daven, go learn a little bit, but he doesn't really have a lot of time to spend with him. So he not that interested in his studies after a while. He's thrilled by the business.
Speak up.
Loves the business, and he's very much taken by it. So and then again, tragedy strikes again, and his father passes away. At this point, he's a relatively young man, and he's all alone in the world. But not only that, he's got to make some decision about what to do about the business. And the lawyers say to him, you have two choices. You can either sell it, or you can run the business. You can do it. And he decides, even though he's a very young guy, he decides, okay, I'm going to make a try. I'm going to try and run the business. And he takes to it like a fish to water. He is very successful. Very quickly, young guy, very quickly, he's like making deals. He's doing this, he's doing that. He's building up this business, getting higher and higher, till finally he realizes, it's not so comfortable. He's like the only one wearing a kippah and tzitzis, and he's the only, he can't eat with everybody else. And gradually he lets this thing go and that thing go, and he's no longer. And but it doesn't seem to affect his business. He actually continued to do very well, and he just keeps going higher and higher. Well, one day he's very happy. He just made this huge killer deal, and he's walking home, and he's happy as can be, and he sees this little boy crying his eyes out, and you know how it is when you're happy and somebody who's not happy, like you got to fix it. Everybody should be happy, right? So he goes to the boy and he says, "What's wrong?" And the boy says to him, "This isn't something you would understand. It's like a Jewish thing. You wouldn't really understand it." And like a knife to his heart, like, I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish. And as a matter of fact, I learned Talmud, and I went to Jewish schools. And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to offend you. I feel so sad. I'm so unhappy because." My father died, half a year ago, and my mother was raised my six brothers and sisters and me, and we have so little. And today my mother said, "It's Chanukah, and let's go through the house, let's check the house, let's check everywhere, and maybe we can find a coin and we can buy some oil." So they check and they're just about to give up, and his sister finds in the back of the drawer one little coin, and his mother says, "Okay, go to the store quickly. It's about to close. Take the coin and go buy some oil." And he does. He gets there just as the guy's about to close up, and he buys the oil, and he's walking home as happy as can be. He's like dreaming. He's thinking of all the wonderful Hanukkahs of the years past. He's thinking, like he remembers, like when the glow on everybody's face in his household, when when they all just seem to be so happy. And he said, maybe even tonight we're going to dance. And, he's thinking about these things, and then suddenly he trips. And the bottle goes flying. And he watches it, horror. He watches it arc through the air and comes down, crash. And he's heartbroken because. And so Mr. Pinchas, he's looking at the bottle, he's looking at the oil, and he says, "This bottle is me. That oil is my Jewish soul that spilled out on the ground." And he just reaches into his pocket and hands the kid a bunch of bills, and he says, "Hurry, run back to the store. Tell him Avram Pinchas said to open up the store and buy oil, buy whatever you want." And he takes the money, and the kid runs off. And he goes home, and he had picked up the bottle. He's holding the bottle in his hand. This is me. And he sends all of the servants away. And he just weeps, He sits there for hours crying his heart out. And then he said, I may have, my Jewish soul may be covered up, it may be hidden, but it's not gone. There's no such thing as a Jew not having a Jewish soul. And he goes and he looks for his grandfather's old menorah, and he finds some oil in the house and some wicks, and he lights the first Chanukah candle. And he says, you know what? I'm going to do something else Jewish. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to put on tefillin. He has to dig up his tefillin. And then the second night, he lights the candles and he says, you know what? I'm only going to eat kosher after today. And the next day, he finds some Jewish book and he's like, starts learning some Torah. And then after the fourth candle, he decides, okay, I'm going to keep Shabbos. And by the end of the 8th day, he's a new man. He is a completely changed person. The lights of the Hanukkah candles lit up his soul, brought back his soul, and he's a different man. And so he tells his guests, this bottle is here to remind me where I was and how far I had fallen, how broken I was, and it will always be something that I've never. Wow. Story. Storyteller. Thank you. Right. Thank you very much. What time is it? Oh, we even have 10 more minutes to sit and eat. I guess I could make some announcements. Okay, keep eating. My husband says that the Sufganiyah is reminiscent of the laws, the prohibitions that were placed on Jews, right? Like the white sugar corresponds to, it's Lavan, so it corresponds to Levana, and it's corresponds to the moon, like we were forbidden to observe Rosh Chodesh and the Jewish holidays. And the red part in the middle is like Dam Milah, right? The blood of the Milah, which we were not allowed to perform. And the body of the Sufganiyah is like the dough, like Shabbos, challah. So when you eat it, I already said a bracha. When you eat it, you're like, goodbye, you Greeks. Once a year. 1 a year. What? I think so. Okay. So first of all, I want to just thank the sponsors of our breakfast this morning. First of all, we have our two sponsors, Miriam Esther Gutman, who is sponsoring breakfast in honor of the fact that she has her eyesight back. She had cataract surgery and she could see. And your timing was very good because you should be able to see the Hanukkah lights. Okay, and also from Shira Sherbo, who says it's for all of us, you, who have birthdays in Kislev, and her knees, that wasn't part of it, okay. And her knees all better. Okay, and yes, she's gonna come early on Monday. Oh, that's not part of the day. But it's in honor of all the Kislev. So, anyways, thank you both. It was beautiful. Thanks to everybody who came so early and worked so hard. So many people. Just okay. So we have a book sale going throughout the day. And there's also going to be learning, but between classes, you're welcome to browse. At 12 o'clock, you're free to take whatever you want to take, to buy whatever you like. At 12 o'clock, we also have the cupcake decorating with Esther Berkowitz. So that's going to be, because you haven't eaten enough junk. No, because so cupcakes are healthy. Cupcakes are healthy, aren't they, Nina? Okay, if you have not yet, put your present, your grab bag over here. Okay. And we're gonna have we always have the drawing at 12 o'clock. Okay, then at 12:30, Rabbi Gershon Vogel will be offering the fifth of his 5-part series, Effort, Unity, Faith, Trust, and how they connect to Chanukah. I think we're gonna pull all the strings together. Beautiful shiur, and we've really been enjoying it very much. So make it into a nice, neat holiday present. Okay. Also, just want to remind everybody, dues or pay for today, right? It's 25 shekels for breakfast, 20 shekels for afternoon session. What else? Next week we are having classes. I know. It'll be a shortened day. We'll finish at 12 o'clock. But I don't know. Somebody said she won't know it's Monday, so okay, we have to have it. Right. And we love it. That's it. Anybody else have any announcements? We'll do Hallel again. Oh, Ruthie. Okay. We'll do Hallel. We'll start with Hallel again. Yeah. Okay. If anybody has to leave before 12, you put in a present, take something out. You're welcome to take before then. In the trash bag. It's not trash. But this is not so often.